Hey Stephanie, Kindle here. I hope this video finds you rested and relaxed. Haha, that's a funny joke, right? We're at the end of the semester and it is not time to be rested or relaxed or hardly even composed at all, right? So I printed out your lesson, and as I was watching your lesson and your lesson overview, I just made all sorts of notes. So bear with me, it is a little bit random. But your lesson was very cool. I have to say it made me a little bit hungry because I was thinking about worms and I was thinking, man, I don't have any brown pipe cleaners. What could I use instead of pipe cleaners? And then I thought, sour gummy worms. I know my kids would be engaged with a whole bunch of sour gummy worms to play with. So I think I might have to try this lesson with them. I am gonna scope out Teachers Pay Teachers and see if I can find those cards that you were using, because how cool is that they see the tin frame, they have room to practice their number, and then they have to do some counting of those worms too. I really, really like that. So I wrote down Teachers Pay Teachers, Pocket of Preschool, and I am going to search that the next time that I get any time at all. I was so impressed to see that you have a preschool class, because honestly, I'm working with some year-end kindergartners that are still struggling with their numbers 1 to 10. I was impressed that that they were preschoolers. Way to go, you. Also, while I'm thinking about that, on the other side of my notes, I wrote that you said twice you have full confidence that they'll do great in kindergarten, and I love that. You also said that you are giving these kids a solid IEP with lots of support. That is something that I've been struggling with a little bit. The teacher that teaches the grade levels above me is overloaded with students. You know, we don't have a lot of para support, and so it is easier for her to write the IEPs in a way that helps make life easier for her, and I understand why she does that. I would rather write IEPs in a way that makes it better for the students, but again, it's a philosophical difference, and I love that you said you're sending them off with a solid IEP. That just kind of relit my fire to do what's best for my kids, because you're right, you do want to send them on with the very best that you possibly can give them. So thanks for saying that, and I actually wrote that little line that you said in my planner so that I carry it over with me into August. Thank you. I love that you used your tweezers, and what a great way to get in some fine motor skills work also. It's fascinating to me how many kids have never used those kinds of tweezers. How many kids have never squeezed Play-Doh? Your little guy that loved touching and rubbing on the worm. It was fascinating to me because as an adult, I was like, meh, it's a pipe cleaner. It's not that cool. But you could feel his interest in it. So way to go using something pretty simple that you totally caught his attention. And that was a pretty cool thing to watch. You also did a fantastic job of activating their prior knowledge. You guys were talking about worms and what they are, and their answers made me giggle, but you talked about it. So you got them thinking about worms and that the worms lived in the dirt. And so good job. Way to connect it to something that they know. Connections like that will only help them bridge the gap between something that they don't understand to turning it into something that they do understand. You talked about wait time is hard for you. Oh my gosh, wait time is so hard for me. My husband and I have a kindergarten aged daughter, and there's so many times I'll give her a direction and then I'm like, hey, hello, did you hear me? And I always have to remind myself, whoa, her brain does not process the way that yours does, Mama. She needs a little bit of time to process. She needs a little bit of time to grasp what you said, and then she can finally do the task. So you are not alone in struggling with your wait time. I struggle with it also. I come from teaching 3rd grade general ed for 15 years, and so I feel like I have nailed the appropriate amount of wait time for a 3rd grader. Mulling it back down to wait time for a kindergartner, though, has been a struggle for me. You were talking about, again, the boy that loved to touch the worms. See if you can like give him some sensory bins to play around in. My favorite thing to do is to put like nonsense words or numbers that I'm needing them to practice ID and bury them in some kind of a bin. I have corn from my dad's grain bin and I just bury numbers in there, and they have so much fun pilfering through there and trying to find a number or a letter or whatever it is I want them to find. I was definitely thinking about sensory bin options when I was watching your little guy. You had a fantastic lesson. I loved it. And like I said earlier, I'm definitely going to log on to Teachers Pay Teachers and see if I can find that resource to use also. Have a wonderful end of your semester. I've loved chatting with you in class, and I'll see you around. Bye.